Hit me!
Episode 316.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
Wow. Is it just me, or have I not heard that from a while? Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name's Will.
Hi, my name's Trent.
If you want to take... Oh, God. If you want to take part in the program, you can, one of many ways. One of them is Twitter, which, by the way, for the first time, sir, we're supposedly streaming live on right now. Via
on Twitter.
On the Twitters. The place where we know and love and live the most.
Well, just be like the unofficial producer of the show, Rollerdog NC. Use the hashtag NetHeads and tweet along with the show, or after the show, or whenever, whatever you want. Also, shout out to digital friend Bryce DeShazo, who sent me a link via the tweets, and you as well, to the Simpsons short that was on the front of Onward that we talked about last episode.
Yeah, and well, in episode 314, because I'm sorry, Trent. I guess the best way to put it is I've been stepping out.
Hey, you know what? I'd like to think we have an open relationship.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad we could be.
We're living in a post-2019 world.
In the words of the late great George Carlin, I'm glad to hear we're not being so suburban. Anyway. Welcome, one and all. If you want to also attempt to reach out to us, if you don't mind giving us a few, you can probably do that via Skype. NetHeads on air. That's what it is. So anyway, as I mentioned like a few episodes ago, I had reached out to some TikTok creators just to talk to them about what their experience is. And last episode, I interviewed Rahul Rai, and who's a wonderful guy. And the interesting thing is, in the interview, at least, he was the exact same person that you kind of see online, and that's not a bad thing. So that was
that's the Kevin Smith celebrity, right?
Yeah, well, something. Yeah, that is. It was kind of like that same model. What I got was exactly what I also saw there, and there were no surprises, and it was just a really nice interview. Interesting thing, though, about the weird growth of that platform. So when I reached out to him, I think it was in the beginning of February or near the end of February, he had been at 80,000 followers. And like as of this afternoon, he's got 324,000 followers.
Dang.
Yeah, well, I think the platform, and I'm not in any way saying anything about him.
Right.
Meaning, I'm not trying to take away from that growth. But if you've got a platform that has millions, if not billions of users, like the most popular people have 40 million followers or something. It's kind of unfathomable. Then you expect that people can grow. Now Raul is putting in the effort, and he really is getting exponential growth. But Trent, I kid you not, I have shaken a robot on TikTok to make it dizzy, and because of that, I now have 8,000 followers on that platform.
Really?
Because I shook the robot back there.
That's pretty impressive.
Poor little Vector here. Oh, he's playing with his block. How cute. I love it when he does entertaining things when I'm not looking at him. By the way, if you have something like an AI that's behavioral and it's supposed to feel good, it's probably a good idea to put it somewhere you look. I guarantee you I'm not looking over my left shoulder pretty much any time during the day, Trent.
Right. Yeah.
So, as usual, wise investment there. But I shook the robot and I got like 8,000 followers. So, and I think one of them's been viewed like 1 million times. So that just goes to show if an aged bald nerd can get 8,000 followers on TikTok, believe me, so can you.
Yeah,
I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. It's funny. I was thinking about TikTok and how and early adopting and this, that, and the other. I don't know where I was going with this.
I don't know where it's going either.
That was going somewhere, but I'm gone. I lost it.
No, it's fine. I understand too. It's just one of those things where I think when you hear about what it is and when you see people doing it out in the real world, you're like, hey, that doesn't look like something I probably want to be involved with. But then, you start first using it as a viewing platform, and it's that instant gratification and mental bubble gum, and it's click, 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 and they've got you hooked. So what I'm basically saying is stay away from it. That's probably the best choice.
So
Just like,
so far so good.
be like Trent. Stay away from it, damn it. Anyway, so much so I guess I am plugging it because of the new lower thirds that you can see on our screens. Because of that interview, I wanted an impressive looking lower third for him, and then I'm like, wait a second. If I'm putting all this work for this guy, why am I using the very wonderful banner that we were using for the longest time, made for us by Doug? But I'm like, wait, why don't we have these kind of things?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
got it nice and dialed up, and so it's plugging all your socials that I know of too, Trent. So it's a good
Sweet.
thing.
Thanks, man.
But what I can say about technology too, since we are a tech podcast, boy oh boy, in the past couple weeks in this new environment that we're all living in, there's been a lot of technological adaptations.
Right.
Look, if you've come this far and you aren't aware of the fact that I provide tech support to Kevin Smith, then thanks for listening. Who are you?
Yeah.
But
How did you get here?
and if you go back onto the interstate, 2 exits back is probably where you wanted to get on to 242. So go ahead and do that, and you'll get back to safety where you're expected to be. So during this pandemic and this new age of us doing things and providing content and doing stuff, there's been a lot of adaptations. For example, there have been live streams from his patio, the patio of his home. You're looking at terracotta and succulents and cacti. And then there have been a few fundraising shows that have happened at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. So in all of these things, I've been making quick decisions in order to help facilitate things. Like we use Restream, and they're using a Restream account now too. And the beauty of that is when you're streaming to the internet and you're using something like OBS, then it has certain plugins and certain things that have been integrated because it's been so widely used. And one of those is that you can directly connect to your Restream account. And the difference between Mac and PC and OBS is like night and day. I was able to throw that add-on in, Trent, or I was just able to connect that account, and automatically OBS presents me with a field where I can update what the episode title is for all the places we're going to stream to. Because like tonight, if you're first hit NetHeads on air or wherever you went, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter. Like I said earlier, it's our resident home. I was able to update all those titles with one little window and a click of a button. Below that, I was able to toggle on the streams that I wanted to go to and didn't, and I can even monitor the chat from over here. I could do everything. And so I thought, oh, this is totally cool. This is perfect. And then I was helping JC get set up, and he's like, I don't see that window. I'm like, are you on a Mac? Yes. Never mind. Okay.
Well, good luck. But for me, it's been kind of nice in that same like troubleshooting realm, because my folks all have iPhones. And so they're like asking me, like both of them have iPhones. And so whenever they can't like find, or they want their Spotify to work or whatever, I'm like, sorry, I've never had an iPhone, Mom. I can't troubleshoot that for you. You have to ask my sister.
You're able to scapegoat out because you're an Android person.
Yep.
Well played, sir. Very well played. I respect your game. I want you to know this. I respect your game.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where in this day and age, I'm kind of shocked that it still comes into play, that we can still have things that are so heavily divided between PC and Mac. I'm shocked. Why have not we come further?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just Probably because memory is relatively cheap right now, and so no one has to do any like hardcore developing.
I guess. I
And
just
so they just like do like little workarounds without having to like make it perfect. They can make it fast
yeah.
and be like, oh, it takes up more memory this way and doesn't work as well, but we'll get it out on time.
Yeah, exactly. Don't talk about anyway. The it. I guess what I'm stammeringly trying to say here is that if I had more experience with the Mac version, it may be that these are still things that you could plug in or you could get done, but it's just
Right.
not automatic. But when you're talking to somebody else and trying to walk them through it, then and you're suddenly loading it on your Mac for the first time and then trying to make it go and see what happens.
Right.
There's and you're like, what, 5 minutes to air? It's not the time. It's just not the
Yeah.
time. So it's like, never mind. I'll update all the titles. You're good. But it would just be nice if it were the exact same thing in both realms, whether it was PC or Mac, without a little extra effort. I'm sure that's the case. And if I'm wrong, who got hurt? Nobody. That's what I say.
And shout out to longtime Android user at Kaarval Carvel, Ryan Connolly on the Twitter using the hashtag NetHeads.
Hey man, what is up? Yeah, that's the one thing that doesn't show up in the chat is Twitter. So,
But everything else is like if you gave shout outs to everyone that was chatting, it would be like nonstop.
oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why are you lying to the people? What are you doing?
Well, no, like the last episode I did with you, there was a lot of chit chat going on.
Oh yeah, there
That's
was. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back on book. I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
we're really gonna try and sell it up. I didn't
Yeah.
get the memo, but okay.
You're
fine.
killing the business, Will.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It's always be ABS.
Live-
always
Live the gimmick.
I should.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
All right. So does that mean I'm gonna start playing the heel, or have I been doing that already?
Well, we'll swerve later on anyway. They won't see it coming. That's my Vince McMahon.
Very nice. Very nice. Why is wrestling kept coming up in my life lately? I feel like every time I turn around, there's wrestling news.
Because wrestling is mainstream now. So when you say the word Mark derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very clever. Again, respect your game.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, didn't I hear something about didn't the WWE just release a bunch of people from contract or something?
A ton of people, yeah. Makes sense, right? They're still doing shows. They've been able to do shows still the whole time because Florida has deemed sports tapings without a live audience an essential business.
See, now I knew there was something in this I wanted to ask you. Thankfully, my overexhausted brain at least remembered WWE. Wonderful.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like, WWE keeps a huge roster because they have for the main WWE folks outside of like their developmental stuff in Florida, they have 2 live shows a week with different rosters usually for both of those live shows, and then 5 of the other days of the week those same teams are all traveling doing live shows throughout the states. And so there's plenty of work for everyone to do. But when you reduce it to no longer doing those house shows anymore, and you're just doing 2 products for television, there's no way you can fit everyone on there.
No, definitely not. And so is that part of the reason? And does it have anything to do with ticket sales because it's not a live audience anymore?
Exactly. Yep. Same. Yep.
Cheeks and seats are what pay the bills. Is
Yep,
that kind of it?
Yep. There's I mean, you might have a favorite wrestler and maybe only see them on TV, if they're not hot at the moment, maybe once or twice a month at best, in a squash match. And so, but if you go to a live show, you're going to see them for sure because that's what they're doing. They're earning their keep by being part of the supplemental income.
You know what I just realized, Trent? Especially given the fact that we've been doing this now for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I think technically one way or another, you and I have been podcasting together for a decade now. I think March may have marked a decade. It was 2010 and it was March. And if you go back somewhere in social media, I've said what the date is. I don't know.
there, yeah.
But it was March. So I believe it has been 10 years. And I realize something now. Once all of this insanity is over, and this is going to be the best compromise because, realistically, I don't know what I can financially commit to in the future. So I will say this, though. After all of this madness is over, if Devotion Wrestling returns, I will spend effectively one weekend in Utah so that one way or another I can say I've been to a wrestling match with my friend Trent.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I will put a camera on your shoulder.
You
and you'll be working the other side of the ring. And if you break the 180 rule, man, I will beat you down. Look, Will, the front of the ring is the hard 180 line. You can never shoot past the front.
What's wrong with you, man? You know what? You are never back on my set. Ever again. You see, this is the reason, somebody long, I used to do event videography. So instantly he knows how to handle a camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny. I actually did pick up, 2 used, Sony MC 2500s. It's like it's basically the only shoulder mount you can get that's between the ranges of so brand new it's like $1,700. I was able to pick them up for like $5.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only prosumer option for a shoulder mount cam, because your next option is like $3,500.
I kid you not, man. I don't remember.
Insane.
I don't remember what event I was at, but I saw the most ridiculous thing ever. Because it was a guy that had like a handy cam, maybe slightly better than what I'm using right now, but the size wasn't relatively off, and he had it mounted onto basically a weighted shoulder rest mount.
Yep.
So that way he could control it the same way he would a regular camera, and it would have that heft to provide what I would call the discipline weight of the unit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why?
Yeah. Or there are companies that just that's all they do is make you can get shoulder mounts for DSLRs.
Yeah, that's probably what I saw. I'm probably remembering wrong.
Which I think is just funny because I understand why it might be necessary, but a DSLR is by law is capped at less than 15 minutes of footage it can shoot at one time.
There is, I have to admit, whatever camera it is that Josh Roush shoots on is a DLSR that gets around that. It actually doesn't have, and that's why he uses it, because it provides a very good looking picture for that money.
Yeah, and so if you're not able to do a full length anyway, what's the point? I don't know.
I made the mistake of discovering, Trent, that I can track Twitter on my phone. Reboot Stencils just tweeted, Will knows how to how to handle a big load on his shoulder. Thank you, sir. And that's the reason we are doing this tonight. Yeah, shout out to Ryan Connolly, man. So nice to see you, brother. I feel okay. So never mind. I will do that because that would be cool. Because then I can not only say I went to a wrestling event, but I shot a wrestling event.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely do that. But at some point, I have to be able to see the reaction in your face of you freaking out. Now I figured out this is what it's going to be. I don't know how and I don't know where. Well, I guess it would be Florida. But just I have to see you the one time you freak out because I hold up, I've got WrestleMania tickets. And then you're like, oh my gosh, and we're going.
Yeah, dude.
That's why I was willing to commit to Utah, basically.
And the call WrestleMania in of itself is a crazy phenomenon as well, because all the feeder fish along the shark set up around WrestleMania weekend, and so there's just a million things to do, even if you're not going to the main event itself.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. It's kind of like Comic-Con then, it sounds like, in a
There's
way.
WrestleCon that takes place during WrestleMania. Yeah,
Oh,
not
okay,
this year
cool.
though.
No, obviously. Speaking of cons, I'm sure you heard the news, and the
Yeah.
weird thing is, this is going to lose me every bit of geek cred. I am so glad to hear that they've canceled San Diego Comic-Con this year. And let me tell you the reason why. If you guys think anyone's overreacting here, and there may be, there are people that are it's amazing what we're experiencing right now in many ways, and you've actually got people that are protesting, like sheltering in place or staying at home safe
Oh,
orders.
God. There was a rally here in Utah Saturday.
Yeah, see, and so there are people doing that, and if we are. First of all, it's weird that my mind is actually able to go to the point where I'm like, well, it'll be interesting to see if we see spikes in those areas in the next 15 days. A horrible thought. Not a good thought. But realistically,
but also it would feel pretty damn good if there were.
I still don't want to say that. So we're living in really weird times, I guess is the best way to put it.
Sure.
And I just got to say, though, the weirdest thing for me right now, I don't remember where I was going with that other thing, if I remember. But I find it very interesting that we are now on a level playing field, in a way, with network broadcast shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, John Oliver, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not so easy without that applause sign, is it, buddy? and a captive audience.
Good joke. Good joke. Oh, I was talking about why I was glad San Diego Comic-Con was canceled. I'm glad we forgot that. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm relieved, because if we are going to have if there is the potential for this to be as contagious as they speak, and you can have an asymptomatic carrier, that's a nightmare situation for a tightly for a real large group in a confined space. And if you've ever walked in and out of the front of the San Diego Convention Center, or you've seen the footage, then you know that that event is so densely packed. And I've been fortunate enough to be in Hall H, and it is bodies, man. Bodies upon bodies upon bodies. It is a virus's playground.
Oh, I can't even imagine, dude.
Yeah. So I was very, and this sounds like a privileged problem, but I was so relieved, because I didn't want something that so many people love to be something that may be the source of tragedy later. We got a phone call coming in. Hold on, let's grab it. Hey, Jason, hold for just a second, man. So I'm just very relieved that I don't have to worry about that transforming into something bad for everybody. But also now there's no pressure to go, because I had such a great San Diego Comic-Con experience last year. That it can't get better. So
yeah, exactly. You're going out like a George.
Yeah, exactly. I hit my apex, man. Hey, Jason, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself, guys?
I think we're doing good. I think the only one that's not doing good around us is the robot, because he can't get back into his charger for some reason.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think I mean, all kidding aside, yeah, I'm doing fairly well here. I don't know, what's the situation in Logan now, Trent? Is it still just suggested? Is it mandated? Anything?
Dude, I have no idea.
I live in
I'll be 100% honest.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to Google that and update Trent on Twitter, what the current guidelines are in the Logan, Utah area, or the Greater Cache Valley.
Yeah, like my folks told me that apparently you had to register with the state if you were entering or leaving the state. I don't know if that's true or not, but I guess that was a thing, or is a thing. Whatever.
There have been some states controlling movement through, and I think I've been told by two people in mine. Now I'm coming off the same as Trent, but I believe, because I've heard it from my wife and my daughter, that the mandated public wearing of masks kicks in tomorrow here.
Oh,
But mind you, I've been. Hey, computer, how long has it been since March 16th? This is what I don't do math anymore. I don't think.
don't need to.
10 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days on March 16th, 2021.
Dude, that's not helpful. Computer, how long has it been since March 13th, 2020?
The current year, 2020.
Oh my gosh, I do this all the time, and now I'm looking like a jackass.
Yeah, it
Look,
hates
hey,
you.
hey, computer, be quiet, okay? Don't sass me and listen. Computer, how many days has it been since March 13th, 2020? Now I'm correcting it because I
There you
realized the
go.
mistake I've
Yeah.
been making.
2020 was 39 days ago.
Day 39 of quarantine, technically.
Wow.
So yeah, so
Or just follows Zach Knutsen's. He does that whatever day it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, it's Zach and Molly day such and such of quarantine. By the way, I spent all that time arguing with the robot, and it was just on a still of you. I am you really want to trust me with a video camera? So to answer the question you called in about 5 minutes ago, Jason. Apparently we're all doing fine. We're just clueless about what's going on around us. How about you?
Well, where I live, we have low patients that are infected, but we're doing pretty good right now.
Where, if you don't mind my asking, where is here? You may have told us in the past. I just blank on these things.
It is in Ontario, Canada.
Ah, yeah. See, Trent, I didn't want to assume, but I picked up on a slight accent.
Oh, see, I thought it was just because of like the quick response to bad news that their government was able to mobilize so that there would be lower rates, is why you would assume that he was in Canada. But maybe it's an accent. I don't know.
My lord, have you switched the water you're drinking and what is in it? Because dial 911. This guy's on fire.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good.
Well, I'm glad to hear things are going well your way then, Jason, because, it in so many other places it isn't pretty. But was there something you wanted to discuss or ask tonight?
Well, I just want to talk to you guys about how you guys are dealing in quarantine down in the States compared to us in Canada doing quarantine. I'm just wondering how you guys are feeling, if you guys are okay mentally as well.
Wow, that is a great question. I can say that for me, I've been working at home for 4 years now, and thankfully I'm still able to work.
That long?
Yeah, it has.
How?
So the best way to put it is I snapped about 2 years ago, and then I just decided, okay, this is a lifestyle now, and there used to be jokes about, did I actually use my car this week, kind of thing. So I'm okay. I think it has been hard on my family because, and I don't mean this in any negative way, there used to be scheduled breaks when the kids would be at school so that mom would be able to have downtime for herself, watch her shows, do whatever she wanted to do. That's gone. And likewise, there was time out for the children in a new and different environment, and now that's gone. So, I think, like, basically you got a bunch of people trapped in a space. There's a lot of there's probably some bickering that happens because nobody really gets a reprieve. But there are other nice things that have been happening. Even though I'll have to wear a mask to do it tomorrow, there have been a few evenings or days where I've been taking the dogs on a walk with my daughter, which is actually, it's great for everybody, and we're able to get some vitamin D. And also, our rescue dogs are starting to get the hang of it. Rika, the first one that we got, he only did what I call planting, where he basically just stops. He only did that like 6 times on this walk, so that's a win. And I actually got to walk him, so that's a win too. Usually I'm the motivator behind the dogs that remind them what they're trying to move away from to keep them moving.
Dude, that's a really interesting point because early on, I saw a post where, it was a joke post about how dogs rejoice across the world as their masters, spend all their time with them now or whatever. But it's especially for you with like these dogs that have had such a very interesting, pre-life coming to live with the family, right?
Who are you being politically correct for right now on this?
I don't know.
Are you worried they're going to hurt their feelings?
Yeah, I might trigger them. We don't use the word the P mill word.
Oh my Lord! Oh my God!
But like seriously, like you're getting a ton. They're getting a ton of like person time now. That like whether they want it or not, it's forcing them to adapt into a new normal.
Yeah. And in the case of ours, they're getting more used to me. Well, I've always been here, but I think it kind of reinforces for them I'm okay when they see the kids interacting with me too.
Right. Yeah.
But let's answer the main question though too, sir. Basically, we're doing well. I don't think anyone here is depressed yet, but I've done certain things to make sure that kind of gets alleviated by making sure you can do stuff around here. I went through a very extensive backyard cleaning to make sure the kids could have the backyard to use. I've been rehabbing the pool, that kind of thing. So trying to make sure that bought the LED lights for my eldest daughter's bedroom, whatever I can do. So that's what I've been doing. But Trent, how have you been dealing with it? Because I won't shut up.
Yeah, I've literally just been making television episodes for independent wrestling.
I've been watching your shows lately of your independent wrestling as well. Yeah, I think I'm becoming a fan of all different kinds of wrestling shows.
They're like every single interpretation of it is going to be totally different, and there's something that you can enjoy if you look for it in every single part of it, whether how good or cheaply produced it is. But yeah, that's all I do. I'm tonight I'll be finishing up the episode that airs on Saturday, and tomorrow I'll start again on the episode that'll go up next weekend.
Oh.
Again, I have to say,
so staying busy has kept me aloof to everything. Really, I go for like a 2-hour walk with my dog every day now. But other than that, like, yeah,
2 hours,
it's great. Yeah, it's awesome, man.
You're just like, I'm okay. Let's go on walkabout.
and that way, if you can see, it makes him really tired and passed out over in the corner there.
If I may throw in really quick, our dogs too are kind of the same way. We've been putting them through like 3-mile walks, and
yep.
Near the end, they're just like, okay, really? Like that was the only reason the one that Rika would stop was because we kept coming to the little openings from the trail that take you back into neighborhoods, and he was like,
and
no,
they want to go back. Yep.
Yeah, we go through one of these when we go home. No, not right now. So I guess we're not great examples to ask, Jason, because we are two people who literally have not really had to break any of our habits for this. So we're still just, we're still almost living the exact same lives we did.
Yeah, I know.
But it's also a good thing to ask you guys on your opinion, because you guys are still inside, being inside all the time since the COVID-19 hit, and then other people are basically not listening to your governments.
Oh yeah. Like I said, there was I mean, and like, yes, you do have a quote unquote right to assemble and to don't tell me what to do, government, blah blah blah. But there's the spirit of the law and there's the letter of the law, right? And when interpreted correctly, the spirit of the law should supersede the letter of the law. And if you really cared about what the law was trying to do, which was protect everyone as a whole, you would adhere to the spirit of the law. But
Trent,
whatever.
We're talking to a wonderful Canadian.
I know.
And you're trying to justify. Look, I'm sorry. This will lose us listeners. This will lose me Twitter followers. I don't care. I'm going to say this. You can't expect stability when you're getting mixed messages from the president of the United States.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah. That's yeah.
keep up social distancing, liberate such and such. It's like you just and the sad thing is, I'll also say this, these are people that are doing something out of devotion when they are basically just being played as pawns for the political aspirations of a man.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, and if you look at it from like a evolutionary psychology way of like trying to understand it, it makes sense because our evolutionary need for companionship and tribalism supersedes rationale, always will.
Yeah.
And so even if something, makes sense logically, it will drive someone backwards and dig even harder into their tribalism because we have this like evolutionary need to be part of something bigger and being part of a safe group.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's just I don't want anyone to lose their lives that doesn't have to. It doesn't matter who they are. That's just something that we don't need. And I don't like hearing people taking risks they don't need to. I guess.
it is sad to hear that people just don't care about themselves and don't care about others, but we need to come together as humanity, basically, because nothing's going to beat this but us together.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's very interesting to see what the pulse of these same people will be in 6 months, because if we look at like for Americans who are very narcissistic as a culture, 9/11 was a big deal because it all happened at once, right?
Yeah.
If it happened very slowly over the period of a year, no one would have cared. But if like the death toll happened all in one day, of the cumulative death toll that we're going to see, then these same people would be freaking out, right? And being like, government didn't do enough, blah, blah, blah. And it just shows like how, like, I don't know, just we don't think long term. It's everything is very short-sighted.
Well, again, from the top down.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's not
absolutely.
there's not a long game being played. Okay, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. Boy, that took a turn. But yeah, it sucks. And you're right. It's the only thing that will get through this is rational thinking, extreme hygiene, and extensive precautions.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
James Smith asking, will we be back here in the fall? What do you think he specifically means by that, Trent?
Wrestling, maybe?
Back in the regular world? I don't know.
Honestly, we're never going to get back to the regular world again. Like we will have a new normal that is not what it was. We're like it's like living in the world after 9/11. Things never go back to the way they were.
Yeah, even if things are lifted, even if restrictions are lifted, even if all of the theaters and all the venues and all of the bars reopen, at least for the first year, there's going to be a large percentage of the population that is still just going to live an at-home lifestyle as a prevention until there is a vaccine.
And you got it totally right there.
Yeah. So, it's and then the darkest thought of all is, well, we are actually not only living in a time of a pandemic, but we are also living in what is potentially one of the largest examples we will have seen en masse of Darwinism.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Darwin Awards aren't going to be so funny this year. Hey, Jason, thanks for reaching out, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your message of positivity, which is something that we all need. And best wishes to you and all of our friends up there in the north.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And enjoy your time of duck and cover. That's what we're doing, right? This is duck and cover.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. And just spread the peace and love around to everybody you know, even your neighbors, even people you don't know. We need to come together for this.
I agree. Absolutely.
And of course, that type of truth comes from the heart of a true Canadian soul, my friend.
Will, speaking of neighbors,
thank you so much, Jason.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
welcome.
Sorry, I thought you cut him off.
No, not at all.
You guys have a good night then.
After that message, how could I not be completely formal and social in our sign-off? Thank you, man.
Somewhere in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't know why I would think the producer will thank them and send them on their way. Trent, we've never had a producer. We're never gonna have a producer. That's not a thing. But for some reason in my mind, I'm just like, okay, someone else will take care of that part and we'll move on.
You're gonna kill me tonight. Thanks, Jason. Have a good one.
You too,
Bye, man.
guys.
Whatever.
Bye.
No, he was way too. Yeah, of course. You know, he's gonna get transferred back over to the hotline, and then our producer will just go ahead and
they'll get your info and send you a swag bag for participating in the episode. No. So anyway, speaking. I've never worked with Ralph Garman. I don't know how radio works.
Oh my lord.
Anyway, yeah. So speaking of neighbors and being kind to your neighbors or whatever, I had horrible neighbors for a year.
Oh.
They moved into a basement apartment next to me in a house. One of my very best friends lived in the house up the main floor. Anyway, those people trashed it. They were all on, like, 3 people were on parole at the same time. Cops were there all the time. The person upstairs eventually moved out because she didn't want her baby growing up in the same domicile as meth being smoked.
Oh, so she went to Florida.
And so the house went for sale, and now a nice couple I met today just bought it, and they were moving in. Should I ask them if they got the meth smell cleaned out? Or is that something I just like? What's
we should
what's
get
the
Jason
good neighbor
back to
thing
answer
do?
this one. I think we missed an opportunity because I'm not going to give you the right answer. You know, I mean, it's
yeah. I know.
Here's what you do. You just happen to mention you do a podcast called NetHeads. Let the cards.
Give it a listen. Listen to episode 316, right around the 28-minute mark.
Because I guarantee you won't have to ask them if they listened to the podcast.
Yeah, when the hazmat cleaning crew shows up.
Well, I guess they figured it out. Well, no,
Yeah.
I just meant more that they would definitely come talking to you. Kind of like in the episode of Friends where Joey does the lipstick for Ichiban. Lipstick for men, and it's blue lips. You know, it's just, it's kind of on the nose that he would know you, or you would know they heard that, just the same way Joey knew that Chandler couldn't have watched the video. Sorry.
TV, what have you been watching?
Well, some Friends, I gotta admit.
Yeah, sure.
Look, I'm not going to lie, Trent. Let's just put it all on Front Street. Let's just say that once I realized we weren't going anywhere, and I also realized, I'll get a new hard drive. Let's just say that I was prepared with Friends, The Office, 2005 Doctor Who, and Breaking Bad are at my disposal.
Okay.
And yeah, Friends was in there. So, you know, I've been watching random things because I thought it would be cool to go back and watch 2005 Doctor Who to see Eccleston and just kind of ride the ride
in
now.
His glory. In his glory, Eccleston.
Oh yeah, he did a very amazing, quirky job with that role. But I gotta admit, I've only gotten through like 3 episodes because been a little busy. So, but that's what I've been doing. I've been interspersing life with these kinds of things, and the Doctor Who one is the one I actually want to participate or really want to push through. But it's not really family consumable. You know, they'd rather use the TV for something else. So,
yeah.
What about you?
Okay. So it's. I'm glad that you brought up that you've got Breaking Bad on the ready. Like it's in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the dog walks, I listen to audiobooks. And I last month I finished it's pretty short. I listened to Bryan Cranston's autobiography, A Life in Parts. Fantastic book, great listen. And he talks about how he got onto Breaking Bad solely because there was like a line of circumstances that led him down a path, but he ended up being in a creature feature, Monster of the Week
Mm-hmm.
episode on the X-Files, which Vince Gilligan was a co-showrunner along with Chris Carter. Wrote all the good like standalone episodes are basically written by Vince Gilligan. And Bryan Cranston came on and he played the guest star for that week. And then didn't hear or even remember Vince Gilligan ever until they approached him to do the show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh man, that's interesting. I haven't watched the X-Files since it was airing way back when. Maybe that's the next thing I can go through and watch, right? So I started. And this blew my mind. Do you know what year, up until like the more recent miniseries that they did, what year the X-Files actually ended airing? This blew my effing mind.
No, I have no clue.
2002.
Oh, wow.
It ran from 93 to 2002. Crazy. I had no idea it was that long.
Oh, really? Oh, no,
Yeah.
well, if you look at the timing, you had other things going on in life.
Yeah, I was
around
graduating from high school and yeah.
And me, I was a grown married adult, so I was just like, well, this shit had to pay off, man. You know?
Right? And then they basically write David Duchovny out of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know if the T2000 can really do this or not.
Exactly.
Or excuse me, the T1000, not the T2000.
Uh-huh.
The T1000.
Yeah.
But Robert Patrick freaking crushed it. Anyway, getting back to Breaking Bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were on X. Okay.
That was so the X-Files was straight up just not just, but it was the platform for Vince Gilligan having 9 years of the broadest amount of actors to pull from, because almost everyone that's a key player in Breaking Bad was on the X-Files.
Oh,
some way or another. And then he just picked, Pinkman was on there. Tuco was on there, like almost everyone that's like one of the main people he had worked with on the X-Files or whatever. And so it blows my mind that like he remembered Bryan Cranston from an episode in like 1997. And then just, you know what, who would be a great guy? The Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. He would be a great guy to be in this show.
It's funny you mentioned it, because now what you're saying leads me to something else, because there have been many times I've heard that Kevin Smith has said that Mallrats was basically a casting call for Chasing Amy.
Right. Yeah.
And yesterday, I don't know if you noticed, Trent, it was 420.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, you may have heard something about it. And
the 20th of March.
And basically
April,
yeah. It's all right, man. It's as the joking meme goes on Twitter, the like, hello, welcome to Blur's Day, the
blood of blah, blah,
the
blah.
Blemteenth of Umblober. Yeah, I feel the same way too. Anyway, now I forgot what I was saying. Boy, I'm dumb. It's because it's the end of the day.
TV and Mallrats was the casting call for.
There was an entire day of activities that Kevin Smith was going through, including like going from follow this chain and think about this.
Right.
Going from a Cheech and Chong podcast or stream appearance. So you're appearing on screen with Cheech and Chong, and then you're like, oh, guys, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I gotta appear on Willie Nelson's show. And then I'm gonna go hang with Pete Davidson and Chris Webby over on Raw's 24 stream before I do a Facebook Live view along of Mallrats. So that's where. So I heard the exact same thing yesterday as well. That much in the same way that Mallrats was a casting call for Chasing Amy, you're pointing out the X-Files is a casting call for Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it totally is. And man, there are some powerful, like just the X-Files. What a great show! I had no idea. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think if you don't
get
dragged into the mythology episodes, and whatever path they eventually lead to.
Right.
The rest of the show is a great thing. It's just
Yeah.
those particular thematic episodes are the ones that, you know, lead you thinking so much, and it's like, you know, does it really ever pay off?
Right.
Weren't there like 2 X-Files movies? I don't remember anything about any of those.
One in '98, yeah. And it's so funny because I remember seeing it in the theater and everything, but watching the television show, and then it ends on the end of one season. You watch the movie over the summer, and then it comes back. You didn't need to see the movie at all to like, no, like there's like 3 lines from it, and then they like show a clip of the movie in the opening cold open. Like, you don't need to see the movie at all to follow the mythos.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yep.
But still, it would be fun to rewatch, because I think during the resurgence, it was also showing up on some places, and there was an occasional episode I would catch. And yeah, it's a good show. And some of the shows, you go back and you realize it's like, wow, I really, like with Doctor Who, I was plowing through that to try to get ready for Tennant's exit and Smith's coming in there.
Right.
So, you know, I'm now going back and I'm like, wow, for something they were rebooting and taking a chance on, this is really, really good. I just, you know, wish I had more time to watch it. Like, I think one of the things I wanted to watch too on Hulu, they now have the exclusive on Parasite, and I want to see that.
Yeah.
But I
yeah,
have
saw
not yet.
that. Yeah. Well, and funny, because I've been watching the X-Files all on the Hulu, but they don't have the streaming rights for the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good thing you
The
didn't see it
X-Files
then.
movie. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah.
So I definitely want to see Parasite. Is there anything else though? There's nothing really that's leaping out at me, except that I do want to see. Now I will go on to Disney Plus to watch that short. That you mentioned that was supposed to be in there. Way back, you remember I was saying that we joked about John Oliver, and I think the phone rang. Because I was talking about how we're now on a level playing field with all of broadcast television. I think, technically speaking, you might have a more advanced set right now than Conan does. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And you've got all these people broadcasting from their home. But what I wanted to say, though, is, you know, when you joked about, like, John Oliver, it's not quite so funny without, you know, the applause sign. That is a guy who, just in the course of 2 or 3 episodes now, has very quickly evolved to the medium well. He redefined his presentation, and it works, right?
Yep.
I mean, sorry, John, I don't think HBO is going to care about a live studio audience when this is all done. Actually,
and they'll cut costs by not having them there.
That was one of the things, you know, if you're not a subscriber of the Ralph Report on Patreon, you probably may not have heard this, but like in one of their episodes, they pointed out, and I'm sure that a lot of these networks are starting to look at these things going, oh, so the audience is willing to accept this, which, by the way, guys, other than your elderly audience, this should come as no surprise. Because people have been, you've been afraid of YouTube this whole time, and now you are YouTube.
The Chuck Lorre production model is so outdated. It succeeds because that's who watches live television. They're not going to be around forever. You got to adapt.
Yeah, and boy, oh boy, you know, like literally, I'm sitting here with a few extra computers, but I'm able to just press the buttons, and a show goes out. Trevor Noah is crushing it from his room. It's very weird to see. Like, did you catch the Saturday Night Live episode?
No, I haven't yet. I read like the TV Guide blurb on Hulu, but that's as far as I've got so far.
It was interesting, and
it was all produced from their homes, is what it said.
Yeah, exactly. So it was some of the things you would expect. There was like a skit oriented around awkwardness in Zoom meetings, which is, you know, part of the new normal. But then there were some other things too. Like I can't even. It was basically Pete Davidson having a rap song that was dedicated to living in his mom's basement, I think. I don't mean to take away from it. It was funny. The presentation was great. I enjoyed that. The thing that I was looking forward to most in the new medium, though, that I didn't actually get was Weekend Update was not good. The guys, much in the same way where you're like, oh, it doesn't play without the applause sign. Theirs was the only segment where they basically brought their own little audience in on the call.
Oh, really?
So they had something to play to.
That's interesting.
And it didn't work for me.
Which makes sense for who they have doing Weekend Update now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was Norm Macdonald or Kevin Nealon who was doing it like back in the day, they could have done it as dry and straight as possible, and it wouldn't have mattered. The delivery would have been exactly the same, audience or no audience.
Well, that's a very good point. Because wow, if you think about it, all most of the last decade of Weekend Update is already doing these presentations and shows from home. Fallon and Myers,
yeah,
they're doing it. So and wow, I never thought about that. You're a thinker. You're on fire tonight, and you're a thinker, sir.
I don't know. This is me doing the thinker pose.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, we can openly critique these shows now because guess what? We're all using the same stuff. So now we're commenting on our peers, Trent.
Yeah. Only 9 years after, oh shit, what's his name's Montreal comedy keynote talking about the breaking down of the gatekeepers. Has it finally been democratized?
You're fishing for a name, and I accidentally unplugged my headphones. I didn't hear any of that.
Patton Oswalt.
There we go.
Whew. I was like, I did a master's paper on that keynote speech. Yeah. So 9 years later, 2011, I think is when he gave it.
Mm-hmm.
We finally have a democratization. It took a while.
Yeah, a little bit. But by the way, Trent, because of that, I think that we should start to potentially pitch ourselves to the late night slots. So they can help fill those in that late night time where probably nobody's buying programming now. And I figure, with your beard and the hat, we're already appealing to part of the South. And just to make sure, things, I've got the bald head. So again, anyway, here we go. Let's get pitch ready. Now we can be told apart even more. Look at that. Get rid of the large room glasses.
Yeah. Yep.
Start rocking these frames. That's enough variation. Yep. I might have to wear a collared shirt, but here we go.
And our first sponsor is oh shit, what's that online Parker Warby?
Warby Parker, the glasses people. Oh
yeah, because we both have we're mal seen people.
We're the guys that are afraid of LASIK is who we are.
Dude, it scares me to no end. No, seriously, dude, you're actually Will, you are blind, and they like your eyes are cut open, you're blind, and they move you to another chair. Dude, I'm never doing that. Ever.
That sounds like some form of torture, is what that sounds like, what you're describing.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a fire alarm that goes off while they're moving you to the other chair, and oh shit. Well, sorry, you're blind forever now.
I don't know what lenses are in these frames, but I think I like them better. But yeah, that would help us. There you go. God, you're a real. I just said you're a thinker, Trent.
Will, I got these ideas, man. Like a hat that goes beep.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Since we are a lesser listened to podcast, I figure the best way to go ahead
you don't say.
Yeah. The best way to wrap this up would probably be to also talk about how the podcasting world has kind of been impacted by the pandemic. Well, I shouldn't say impacted. It's exploding.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if we talked about it last time, but I got to put my other glasses back on. But Seth MacFarlane had done, I don't know if he's done any more since, but he had done an installment of basically the football-headed baby. Stewie. And the dog's name, Brian. Stewie and Brian sitting down to do a podcast. That, if I talked about this before, that was a long road for you to just walk down with me.
I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, and it was absolutely brilliant. And I hope he hasn't done anything else because, again, we don't need any more competition in this realm.
Right.
And then America's most likable human being, John Krasinski, starts putting out SGN, Some Good News, where he's just being all cute, and making us feel good and warming our hearts and bringing people in from the office and hosting a prom for people.
I was gonna say he's reprising his role as Jim IRL because the dude can act. I mean, he is
Jack
Ryan. Jack Ryan.
Ryan.
There we go. Yeah. Tom Clancy's like superhero.
Yeah, the guy's got range.
I guess.
So he's doing that, and I think Sarah Benincasa does the "This Is Not Normal" podcast. Right. I think even like Matt Cohen. I think I saw him. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but posting about a greatest podcast title for a pandemic, Poddemic.
Oh yeah.
And even this one I found interesting because I remember when things first started happening, where they started talking about social distancing and the like. Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah,
his
sure.
wife, Emily, is immune compromised from previous conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I remember early on, before anything formal was out and people were just like, oh, should we be staying home? He had to back out of an event. He's like, no, I'm sorry, I'll just be staying home because he doesn't want to risk the love of his life, which is a beautiful sentiment. So now they've started doing Staying In with Emily and Kumail. So, entertainment is changing so much in such a little time. It's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, and it's oh, speaking of which, on top of that, like basically, the only sport that I like follow closely, like I enjoy hockey. I'm a big hockey fan, but I don't follow it closely. The only sport I follow closely is MotoGP, motorcycle racing. It's like the highest, tier of motorcycle racing. They were one of the first ones to cancel their season, and they were one of the first to adopt a virtual season now with all the competitors that can do it or that want to do it, playing the MotoGP video game, racing each other, just as they would in a normal race.
It's not funny at all. It's brilliant. I think that they've done the same thing with racers and car simulators.
F1's doing it now, and it's actually kind of cool. It might even give like a new I don't know, at least more validation to esports, at least.
And I'm sure that there is some MMORPG or whatever, some massive online game company. If they don't already have it, they could very easily have a video game where you could have all of the baseball players playing themselves on their teams.
Oh, yes.
And just going through a virtual season. And then it's like, it's just for fun. And, there are going to be some players who are going to suck compared to how they normally do because they don't play games. And then you got some guys like Hunter Pence who just signed back onto the Giants. God damn it. But he has a gaming establishment and he plays games. So he would be at a great advantage. But it would be something fun, even if you're just sitting there watching them play a baseball game, because you could still have the announcers announce the game.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And it's not that I'm saying this is the way we have to do it in the future, but it's a way to provide entertainment and, I guess make a little money. I would think in this day and age that is something that could be done, much in the same way I would expect plugins that would work equally for a Mac and a PC.
Yeah. But, we don't run everybody wants to rule the world, Will, as
Tears for Fears told us, my friend.
Along those same lines, like one of my a lot of artists are doing this. He's not unique, but one of my favorite musical artists, David Bazan, he's been doing 2 shows a week for free on Twitch, just acoustic sets, him like singing, and he just asks, here's my PayPal. If you want to send some money, you can. And once I'm able to like take care of myself, since I can't tour right now, I'll pass it on. So wherever it's going, like I'll let everyone know. But if you want to watch, or if you can't afford it right now, just enjoy this set or whatever. Like it's brought out a lot of cool things in like creative outlets, I think.
Yeah, you've got a lot of people providing a lot of great content. You've got DJs that are doing virtual sets and virtual nightclubs. Like I said, Krasinski for the class of 2020 did a stream somewhere where he was hosting prom for them. He was DJing prom, is what he was doing. And it is nice to see all the things that people are doing. I don't live in an area where it's happening, but I understand that people are going out at cheering at 7 a.m. or at 8 p.m. to support frontline and first responders, the people that have to go to work to help keep us all safe and alive. I haven't heard that, but that kind of thing too. You see that, like I'm telling you, you got to avoid that John Krasinski's some good news and listen to us, but also avoid that because or at least make sure you have something, because God knows it's not toilet paper or facial tissue probably, but have a towel handy to wipe away the tears of joy that you will feel.
And I'm a crier, Will. You know that it will just destroy me. I still haven't watched Onward because, I'm afraid of my feels sometimes.
Trent, I had to choke back tears as I was walking a dog today because I realized he's letting me walk him now. I'm okay. Next subject.
Yeah, moving on. I'm a little verklempt. I'll give you a topic.
Yeah, well, it is emotional.
Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss.
Yeah, I personally, it's just crazy times. It's just like like I said, I got things ready around the house. I'm trying to rehab the pool, and it's just like, okay, well, do I really want to go to the hardware store? Do I? Because there's my whole family to look out for, and the dog that now lets me walk him, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one too. Although it's not so great that she's hopping on the couch, she will freely hop on the couch next to me, as well. So they've accepted me as part of their wolf pack, Trent.
Too sweet. Wolfpack, too sweet.
Oh.
That's a wrestling thing.
And how are things? How are things going with Lurch?
Oh, dude, he is becoming. We're in a codependent relationship, but let me rephrase that. We're in a dependent. He's in a dependent relationship with me. like there used to be some grounds about not entering the bathroom when I was using it. Not anymore. No, I have to he's on my feet while I'm deucing, man. It's God bless him. God bless him. I worry for if I, when I'm no longer fun employed and have to leave the house, what he'll do, because he's big enough, he can do whatever he wants.
Boy, that was both an interesting story and too much information, so eloquently intertwined together. I'm sure there are some other examples you might have chosen, but I salute you. I get it though. The dogs, and that's part of the reason why I think they're more accepting of me is because the kids are always Trent. They're always here. They are always here. So they see that the kids seem to like me, so they're okay with it.
Reed Stencils from Perth, Australia, says that he's actually been watching Community, and he says some bits stand up, and as expected, some jokes have aged.
It's interesting how in the last decade, though, the distance from it, I recently went through a rewatch of that as well, and
I remember
at the time I was more accepting of the non-Dan Harmon season than I was. I was far less understanding about it now, or I was able to take notice of it more now. I don't know which way to put it. Obviously, I didn't enjoy it as much, and the thing is that as a TV viewer now, it's one of those things where I guess God, this sounds so lame to say. I've matured as a TV viewer, Trent, because I went into that season not even remembering there was any big brouhaha, and Harmon got basically left the show or was removed.
Yeah.
I don't know which one anymore, but I could tell I could tell there was a tonal shift. Something changed. Same thing, actually, with Raising Hope. I never remembered that the final season, Greg Garcia had left and left somebody else in charge. And it was one of those things where I Googled it afterwards because I'm like, what has happened to this show in this? It's one of those things where you're like, okay, I get why it was its last season. And boy, the writing should have been on the wall there.
It's yeah. Well, but I think maturing as a viewer is fine. Like it's the same reason no matter the cast, I have a hard time watching anything with a laugh track.
Yeah, that is not something I'm very.
It's because like tone has changed. Our expectations have changed. A laugh track but I'm totally happy going back and rewatching shows that aired when that was the norm.
There was something recently I was rewatching, and that was the one thing that Denise was noticing, just the heavy reliance on a laugh track, and it was just like every time it happened, it really started bugging.
That's that part. Whenever I hear like when a couple kisses and then like the crowd goes, it's so ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing in the world.
Somewhere
so that canned reaction.
and somewhere in the world, somebody else watched that and go, "Hey, you hear that? That was cut C328." That's what that was.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. In the Bryan Cranston's book, he talks about when the episode where he's may or may not have taken advantage of Jerry when he was under in the doctor's chair as Tim Whatley. The take that they went with, they did like 13 takes, and Jerry just cracked up and died laughing every time because they had never rehearsed with him taking the hit from the mask himself before he puts it on to Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jerry just like couldn't hold his shit together during that whole scene. But then I'm thinking to myself, I want to go back and rewatch that now because the audience sounded like they were having a great time. Like it sounded like a genuine like take.
Yeah.
But how it can't be the same when you know what's coming.
No.
Anyway.
True. Very good point. It's like, okay, if they had 12 takes and that's what we heard, I see where you're going with there. Jose Manuel Alvarez on Facebook asks, haven't seen or heard you guys live since like the second Nagathon. Will, did you lose like a bunch of pounds? Yes. Anyway, Trent, we have gone to the limit of the show today. Just want to make sure, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No. Go to deathray.media and you can find all the stuff I'm doing there.
Yeah, you can also go to YouTube and do a search on Devotion Wrestling, correct? That's the name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually added all the episodes to Death Ray Media website so that you can see them there as well.
Well, there you go. Just go to Death Ray Media. Don't listen.
Have to search for it.
Don't listen to the schmuck that doesn't know the site.
Like, subscribe, make a comment, blah blah blah. Yeah, no, you can do that too.
Don't forget to ring that bell to get notices, Trent.
But I've also got like the archive of all the photos I've taken of matches over the years and everything there. So you can go see it all there on deathray.media.
Don't say archive. Don't. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and participating. Thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch or listen to us. And hey, like we just joked about, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell to find out when we're doing something next. But in the meantime, and until next time, my name's Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back.
Sometime.
No, dude. Soon.
Oh, but soon.
No, hold on. Yeah. And we'll be back. Okay.
Soon.
Okay, one more time. I know it's been a while.
Right.
Come on. All right.
Yeah.
We're professionals.
Yes.
The
producer will fix this in post, right? We have a producer, right, Trent?
Yeah, right after the swag bags went out, he'll get to the editing. Until next time, my name is Will.
I'm Trent.
And we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
So the question everyone really wants to know, just got to make sure it's answered, Trent. The answer is yes for me, but while we've been doing this, pants?
Shorts.
Ditto.